What is going on, fam? Welcome back to the channel. So today is all about playtesting the Ultrezza 3. I know that the review came out a while ago, but as you guys can see, I'm producing just a crap load of content. So thank you for your patience. I'm really excited to test these out. Lockhart Boot Blog, as of the filming of this video, literally just came out with his review of the Ultrezza 3. So go check out his post. I'll leave a link down below in the description box, and had some good things to say about this one. Obviously, in the on-feet portion of the original review, I rated this really, really highly. I think it's a very comfortable football boot, and I'm really excited to see how it performs on pitch. So without further ado, guys, let's jump into it. And apologies if it gets ridiculously windy. It is a very windy day in Melbourne. I am wearing a pair of grip socks from Midfoot. These are my favorite grip socks on the market. The thin version is just like my cup of tea. I love them. They're actually really durable as well. So you can get 20% down in the description box below. Here we go. All right, so very similar to the unboxing and on feet portion. I have obviously worn these once or twice since then, but I'm getting back into them again after probably about a month or so of not wearing them. So they are feeling really good, actually. Still pretty soft, which is great, especially the upper. Leather uppers tend to get kind of iffy if you leave them for a long period of time, but Asics leather, for whatever reason, is just constantly super, super soft for me. Like, I've never had issues with them. And the Ultrezza, just as a general football boot, at least to my knowledge and testing so far, has been just really, really fantastic. So when you get your foot in the Ultrezza, you can expect to feel a pretty distinct difference between the forefoot and the midfoot. The forefoot obviously being the leather, the K-leather up here, very, very soft, very premium. This reminds me a lot of a slightly more premium feeling version of leather than the 99-gram leather. Like, it's very similar to the touch, but this definitely feels a little bit more premium. And then you, of course, you have the motion wrap tech in the Midfoot, which is like their proprietary blend of synthetics, like an what's the term I'm looking for? But anyway, a synthetic material here in the midfoot that wraps your foot pretty nicely, but you can definitely tell this seam right here between the feeling of the toes as you wiggle your toes and the feeling of the midfoot. So there's a good look at the boots just as we get ready to rock and roll here. Super comfortable. We are on an AG pitch today, so with this stud pattern should have really no issues. I really, really like the way the stud pattern is laid out. I think it's comfortable. I think you feel very, very good kind of rocking back and forth, as are pretty much every Asics boot, which is one of the things that I love most about their football boots. So after a little bit of warm up, jumping straight into the ladder, feels really, really good straight away. Really no complaints as we'll go back and forth. Really, you can tell that initial bite from the sole plate keeping you up on your toes, which is a massive deal when considering a boot that is really meant as sort of an all-around control boot. Remember that the Ultrezza was originally built around Andres Iniesta. Keep in mind these boots are true to size as well. I know I wear an 8.5 US in most Asics boots, but these actually happen to be a 9 US because I found that the fit was just a little bit better. I'm sure that I could probably wear a 8.5 in these as well, but as you can see with some of the sizing, my toe goes right up to there. So I get a little bit of dead space, like tiny bit, about half of, not even a half a thumb's width. But for me, that's perfectly fine for a boot like this. And I think it's gonna break in really, really well. The other thing that immediately comes to the forefront of my mind while I'm wearing these is the heel area. And Asics, in my opinion, are beautifully notorious for the comfort of their heels, and this takes inspiration from the other boots on the market that are really, really incredible, like the DS Lite X-Fly 5, DS Lite X-Fly Pro, and the heel area in these is absolutely fantastic. So comfortable and easily one of the best as far as a control boot goes. So as always, I'm gonna turn away from the wind so it's not super bad. One of the checks we always have to do is on the side. You get very little, if not any, space. Keep in mind, you can see there as well, right there, there's an extra lace loop if I wanted it, so that's always a good thing. So I could do the runner's knot if I really wanted to. I decided not to for the sake of this video, particularly because I'm still trying to break these in. But if you look at the shape of the boot, they really do kind of form to the shape of my foot, which is a bit awkward, especially in this area right here. So that's, of course, a really nice thing to know, that immediately after getting them out of the box, they are feeling real good so far. One of the things that I also notice about this boot that I think is a little bit more pronounced than some of the other Asics models that I really enjoy is the arch support in these. Maybe it's just me, maybe it's the synthetic, the motion wrap in the midfoot, but as I'm walking, as I'm taking steps forward, it really does feel like I'm wearing not quite a running shoe, like not that aggressive, but it really feels comfortable underneath my foot, which is great. So let's get some touches. And touch, here we go. Touches on the ball, drive out, little thing, turn, beautiful. Yeah, wow. Really enjoying the feel and touch of these. That feels fantastic. So easy to manipulate the ball. And I imagine too, with the way that these fit and feel, they will be pretty similar to the 99 gram leather, but the leather doesn't feel as bulbous, which of course is a great thing, because that was my biggest complaint with the 99 gram leather boot, was just that as you're sort of connecting with the ball, the connection between the leather and the midfoot just was too different. And that's one of the things that I think Asics really nails with their football boots. Nails with their football boots, having a leather that feels really natural while also allowing for the synthetic to do the thing that it's meant for, which is lock down and giving that little more barefoot feel as you're coming up and connecting to pass with the ball. And so far, very minimal, speaking of that midfoot, very minimal heat spot areas or hot spot areas, which is great. That's one thing that I always look for in football boots that I can depend on and perform straight out of the box. And I imagine that a boot like this is going to be super exceptional for game time, which I plan to probably use them either this weekend or next weekend, which is great. So yeah, really looking forward to wearing this more often, because I do think they are absolutely fantastically comfortable. All right, let's see if I can chat and also play. One of the reasons I switched fields for these play tests is so that we have a wall to play against, which gives you guys a little bit of extra something from a training perspective, but also from a touch and feel perspective, which is great. So feel free to use any of these drills. Yes. Lovely. Feeling on the ball is fantastic. Love that. Get around. Back to the middle. Little cross. Back two. And big one. Love that. Yeah, feels super, super nice. One of the things that I think is most apparent with the Ultrezza is how balanced it feels, and I would say really so far very little negatives. So really one of the only things that I think you could say, maybe complain about, is the way it looks, but at the end of the day, that's all personal preference. Let's get that control going. There we go. It's been a while since I played against a wall, which is probably not a great thing, but here we go. Oh, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, again, if I close my eyes and the performance of the boot is perfectly fine, then does it really matter what it looks like? I guess not. But personal preference is that I prefer the DS Lite X Fly 5 aesthetically a little bit more. And especially on these, I'm starting to feel a little bit that separation between the leather and the synthetic. So as I'm, doing a touch like this, coming around the corner, that's when you really feel the difference in the leather than the synthetic. Let me show you. All right, so as I was saying, right here, there's a seam, and that's starting to show, especially in the dribbling. It actually doesn't really matter that much because you're mostly just touching the ball with this forefoot area, which feels super plush and lovely. But it's that connection here, and then it's the outside the foot touch. You can see there's a pretty different, look at the way that it kind of cuts right there, and you've got the bulbous part there and a really smooth part there. And I know that's such a small complaint, but it does make a difference when you're trying to get the most precise possible touches. So as I'm coming around, I'm playing, bounce backward, you know, all those little touches out here, play, bounce backward, these little ones, and as I touch, come this way, open, play, bounce backward, like all those little touches, you can start to tell as I get into it a little bit more, are really starting to affect, not in any major way, but just a little bit in the way that they feel on feet. And to be fair, maybe my issue with it is because it is so similar to the 99 gram as far as the way that it fits on feet. Maybe it's just a bias thing. I don't know. But especially as I start to do these passing, that's really what I'm noticing. All right, a little bit of striking. So coming around here, dip here, and then we'll get into a little bit more striking like that. Ideally, obviously not straight down the middle, but you get the idea, right? This drill, especially with some of the cutting and some of this like angled shooting, as I'm coming around here, I'm really looking to expose that piece where I feel it the most during the passing. So as I'm coming around that corner and as I'm whipping the ball in, you'll see obviously technique get better as I get used to the shoes like that. So that's great. But if I have to get used to it every single time, that's annoying. That being said, as a buying guide, just as a general principle, if you're gonna buy a single pair of shoes, basically ignore what I just said, because you'll be plenty used to them like that, right? So obviously didn't go in, but you get the idea. But shooting feels really balanced. Yes, maybe there's a little bit of, there we go. Yeah, there's a little bit of that sort of difference between the leather, but the leather seam actually the leather itself actually covers more of your forefoot than the 99 gram leather does. So it feels more, as I'm striking, especially shooting, feels a lot more natural than the 99 gram leather boot, which I feel like where the leather and the synthetic came together was in a really awkward position, because it was the exact position where these curved shots are kind of coming from. So that's where it gets kind of, I don't know, kind of awkward. Let's move to the other side. All right, moving to the other side. So it's a little bit more of like a dip. Oh, come in this way. See ya. And get in there. Oy. So one of the things I am starting to feel is the outside of my foot where the boot is widest. I am definitely starting to feel a little bit of cramps. Here, this way, big push. Nice. So definitely starting to feel outside the foot, a little bit of hot spot going on there, but for a synthetic boot, that motion wrap is doing everything it possibly can to lock my foot in. And to be fair to it, it's doing such a good job. Ooh, right foot. Yeah, far post, love that. Does a really nice job. But honestly, guys, like Ultrezza feels very robust. And that's something that I think is by design. Nice. They feel, I would say, more solid, maybe not as well built. Like the quality is definitely there, but I would say that, not so good. Anyway, the quality like the boot feels more robust on feet than DS-Lite X-Fly 5 and DS-Lite X-Fly Pro. That's not, what I mean is not they're better. It's just that this just feels like there's more material. These feel like they're gonna last longer, if that makes sense, but they're less premium. So I'll talk about that in a little bit as well. Let's get into some like free kicks and stuff. All right, first off, little crossbar challenge. We'll just go one each foot, literally just from in between these cones, one right foot, one left foot. Try to hit the, try to hit the crossbar. If the wind wants to behave itself, these balls are going everywhere. Good Lord. All right, here we go. Try to smack them. Bang. Oh. All right, left foot, decent. Right foot, that'll behave. If anyone can tell me in the comments where that quote is from. Maybe? Nah, that's all right. Okay, 3 free kicks and we'll get into some final thoughts. All right, the wind is making this a little bit difficult to have the ball stay in one spot. Product of living at the bottom of the world. But here we go. Couple free kicks. See how we go. Same technique as always. Trying to get in that near post. Yeah, look at that. Damn. Okay, so I'll show you guys in the final thoughts what I mean by the excess leather that kind of sits in this spot. So my knuckle actually sits here, not there. So this means that this entire sweet spot is all K leather, which is like the best thing possible if you have a boot that's gonna be both leather and synthetic like that. So here we go, second shot. Ooh, not as good, hit the ground right before I smacked that. Same technique though. Little piece of advice. If you're training and you miss free kicks like I just did, ideally that would go under the wall, but obviously that's probably gonna go straight into the wall. Don't worry about it. Just put a new ball down and get after it again. Because you might hit one like that. Beautiful. All right, let's jump into final thoughts. All right, guys, so final thoughts, just knocked the crap out of my knee. Final thoughts on the Ultrezza 3. So what I was saying before about the amount of leather, I'll take this off and show you guys. So if you can see here, the amount of leather that comes up to kind of where my sweet spot sits about right there, the knuckle of my big toe. And so if this entire piece where I'm striking the ball is all leather, that actually makes quite a big difference from a shooting perspective. Now, when you get into the really little kind of more exact touches, I guess, with the passing like we discovered over there, obviously that's an uneven surface. It's a little bit bobbly over there. Maybe my passing is screwed, I don't know, whatever. The point is that in a situation like that, I'd rather have a really smooth surface. So something like the X-Fly 5 is a great example, or even the Morelia Neo 4 non-beta edition is a great example of just a really seamless transition between the synthetic and the leather in the forefoot. Now, that being said, a boot like this feels so robust and so solid and so comfortable. This is like, in my opinion, one of the best iterations of taking the DNA of the best Asics boots and creating a more robust and more kind of control boot focus, as opposed to X-Fly Pro 2, of course, which is more of their speed boot, and then the X-Fly 5, which I would argue is sort of like the jack of all trades, like it just kind of does everything really well. The thing that the X-Fly 5 and the X-Fly Pro have over this is that really light premium feel. So you get the platinum K leather in the forefoot that's super thin. It's absolutely buttery soft. That's not to say this isn't, but this is definitely less quality in my opinion. It's more robust, it's a little bit thicker, a little bit more padded, but that's a good thing. I think for shooting and stuff, it feels really good. Touch on the ball feels excellent. And I do think that if you're picking between the two models, I would just evaluate, okay, do I want something that's gonna last forever and it's really robust and super comfortable with a really responsive sole plate that's gonna feel great on feet on AG and FG surfaces? Okay. Definitely go with the Ultrezza 3. Now, if you're somebody who wants that really lightweight, like almost featherweight experience like a speed boot has, I would probably go with X-Fly Pro 2, DS-Lite X-Fly 5, or Morelia Neo 4, non-beta or beta, I guess you could go for, but similar, like standard U-throat tongue will just leave the beta out of it. for me, these are a fantastic pair of football boots. I really enjoy them. They are definitely going in the game day rotation. I'll wear them at some point for sure before we do the 1 month review, because I do want to see how they perform in a match-like scenario. But overall, I'm really impressed with the Ultrezza. Now, from a sizing perspective, could I go half a size down? Probably, but it'd probably take me an extra hour or two to break them in just from the midfoot, because as you can see here, there's the leather stretches perfectly, no issues with the leather, but it is this seam right here that goes like right on the widest part of my foot that's causing a little bit of hot spot issues. And so for me, I'm gonna stick true to size for these, and I'll be like, the toe area will be totally fine. So for me, true to size is the best possible fit. If you guys are interested in a massive free sizing guide, I have a free PDF on my website. You can just download it. So you throw your email in there, and then it gives you it lets you download or sends it to you automatically. So I've done every single boot that I've ever tried. I put the sizing in Euro, UK, centimeters, and US sizing, and then a little like wide midfoot, small heel, wide toe box, whatever, whatever, little like quick size, so you guys can get that as well. So that kind of wraps up my initial play test of the Ultrezza 3. As I said before, super comfortable boot, really excited about these. I like these a lot, and I will definitely be adding these to the rotation. So hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. As always, be awesome, take care. I'll see y'all in the next video.